It looks like Cardi B is doing major damage control after she lets Stefon Diggs play her for a fool. Even sources telling Entertainment Tonight that there may be a possible reconciliation.
Well, that is very interesting because hearing that she spent millions or a little over $1 million for the party and for families to be flown out for the party after the Super Bowl, it looks like she was trying to get this man to propose to her. And it just seems like now she doesn't want to chuck it all in with these rumors of reconciliation, and especially coming from Entertainment Tonight. And they usually check out their facts. And their sources are hinting at her team putting out this, because I feel she says she spent all that money on this, and baby, she is going to get what she wants. But she was so humiliated initially, but then she went home and thought about this. Like, it's as if she was almost paying for her own wedding, you know, like they have the engagement, party. Like she's paying for her own stuff, like they say the bride's family paid for everything. It's like she's paying for everything. She flew these people out. But when she saw that just really, that sent her into a tailspin. But she's had some time to think about it, and she's like, wait a minute. No, he promised me some things. I want my money's worth.
Yeah, it really looks like she was tricked into this whole thing. But here's the kicker to it, because he may have made some promises out of his mouth. He may have said a whole lot of stuff. He may have, whispered, like we talked about the last video, the sweet nothings in her ear. Oh, let me heal you, all that stuff. But anybody and their mama could see exactly the type of man that Stefon Diggs is. So the real kicker is that she tricked herself, because there was no way this man was giving off any type of serious commitment vibes to anyone. You can tell even from when he I guess it was a few months ago, she was at one of his games standing in the middle of the field, either before or after the game, and then he pretends to get down on one knee in front of her, and then he just ends up tying his shoe.
Trickster.
It's just, all these types of things. And that's the way this works with some of these situationships or these fake relationships out here, where the man says one thing, but his actions show the complete opposite every single time. And the women in these situations, instead of, listening to their instincts and how they really feel about it, how, wait, that hurt, that they felt some type of way when he did this. They instead let the man end up talking them down or laugh them or joke them out of it. And so it's like, oh, don't act like it was, it was just a joke. I'm just playing. I'm just whatever. And so it continues to let them go along in that same manner where they just keep playing themselves, because they're giving in to the idea that these men actually mean them well when they don't, because their actions are showing it.
Exactly. And Cardi B has put so much effort into this relationship until she knows what the word is out here. She knows how people are talking all over the place, and she does not want to go out sad. Like so many people have said in the comments, they said she's going out sad. And she sees that and she's like, no, she's not. She is going to turn this thing around. And that's why we getting these rumors. They say, E.T., coming from her team, possibly of reconciliation, because she is still hoping that this man is going to untrick her, I'll put it that way, and try and turn this thing around, because after all, she's looking and saying, I know he's not going to let me be out of all that money like that. They said like over 1 point some million
$1.2
dollars,
million.
flying people in, and this was a family and friend situation. And that sounds like she was expecting a proposal after that game.
Yeah.
And that's why that man was being coy, was even referencing it before the game, because he knew what he has sort of alluded to with Cardi B, that this may happen. So when you found him on that interview talking about, let me get my ring first, and yeah, maybe it's on the agenda, maybe. So he was still playing in her face during that interview, because he was trying to convince her that, oh, you will possibly get a proposal out of this, all the while knowing that he was not going to do that. But it's coming bad for him, because people are looking at him and the way he played in that game, and it does not look good. And so he may just reconsider wanting Cardi B back at his side again, because now with people thinking this about him, it's like, oh yeah, oh, he need her back again for this publicity and the good publicity she brought to him. Because before then, like I said, Stefon Diggs who?
Exactly. He wasn't even really on the board like that, as far as people knowing who he was, until he got with this superstar Cardi B. And I think that is another thing that she was doing, because she put out on her stories her flexing, her posing with a $500,000 watch on her wrist. And I think it's a possibility that watch was something that she was going to give him after the Super Bowl.
Sounds like it.
And after he won the Super Bowl, or maybe even after whatever happened, had they still been together, she was going to give him that. But she posted up on her stories, her flaunting this $500,000 watch. And it seems to me like it was like, oh, you could have had this, or this look what I can bring to the table. Again, here she is, doing everything that she can to prove that she's wifey material, that she's someone who can add value or benefit to this man's life. And that is such a sad situation to be in for a woman, because and with Cardi especially, because this is the same thing she used to do with Offset. When she was with Offset, she was giving him refrigerators full of cash. She was buying him vintage cars and things, that she was trying to show that what value she could give to him, what value she could bring. And here she's doing the same thing with Stefon, paying over $1.2 million for this party for him, which again, probably she thought it was really going to be a party for them, a celebration of something. And then flashing this watch and everything. She's doing this to kind of show, look what I can offer you, look what I have. And it's because they place such value on money, which is now, that is not even the important thing in the world, but they place such value on it. And you can tell by the way, anytime an argument gets going on online with people, or they go back and forth with the comments and stuff, what's the first thing they call somebody?
You ain't got nothing.
Exactly. They call them all kinds of BROKE. They say they ain't got this why they driving her. They say all kinds of stuff, because that's where their focus is. That's what's important to them. So the first thing you see someone doing is flaunting, money at a situation like that, it's showing you that's what they think the value is. That's the value that she thinks she can bring to the situation. Because quiet as it's kept, I know it's almost like Cardi may have finally said that's enough. But the way she was showing for this man, and the way she was doing all that screaming and hollering, even to she had the nerve to call him Jesus Diggs when they won the playoff that was sending them to the Super Bowl. Put Jesus on his name like he's something special. And she was talking about in the name of the Lord, walking, all that stuff. She had the nerve to do that for that man, and that was like 2-3 weeks or something before this happened. So she was going all in for this relationship.
I told you all she did was went home, thought about it, and began to re-examine what she would do to get this thing going again. And the aspect of it was that watch.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that she isn't the one who called it quits. I think what happened is she gave him an ultimatum as far as these maybe because she probably found out about it in advance. That probably wasn't a last minute thing with Pre showing up at the game.
Of course not. That
so
was
she found out, because I think it happened maybe the day before, because it wasn't 2 weeks ago that people trying to put out there, oh, this happened, she posted done on her stories. No, because 2 weeks ago she was still screaming and yelling, acting a fool, even to the point of basically saying something inappropriate to a little one for this man. So that's not what happened as far as that's concerned. I think that it just happened right before, the day before, when she found out what he had been doing. She possibly gave him an ultimatum, and he made his choice, because he thought he didn't need her anymore. He thought he was going to win this Super Bowl, and then that was going to set him on top or whatnot. He thought that he could be fine without her. And that's what he chose. And so she had to walk off. But now, here she is in that same situation, because now he's lost. Now he's looking silly, got egg on his face. And here she is flaunting what she can offer him.
Yes, because in the comments all across social media, there are people saying that allegedly Cardi could have paid off Offset's. And we know that was a condition for him signing those papers, to get that money. And so his taxes, all of a sudden, they've been, magically paid off. And so this is alleged. And so people are saying she definitely was expecting an engagement of some sort. So like I said, she sat and she thought about this. She said, wait a minute, I done spent over $1 million over this. I done brought this man this watch. She done humiliate herself. Oh no, he's not getting off that easily. But as you said, I think it was him that really set this in motion for her to walk away.
Yeah.
Because this girl she had been in advance expected to be there, because everything has to be put on a list.
Right.
These things have to have a security, everything. Yeah. And so he was doing everything he could to, I would say, get rid of Cardi.
Right. It was that whole passive aggressive thing that we talked about in the last video too. How they try to do whatever needs to be done so the woman breaks up with them.
Exactly.
And that's what I think happened. And now, when you really think about it, knowing what how Pre is allegedly Offset's mistress, and how she had some dealings with him in the past that relied on her getting some things taken care of.
Right.
You know what could be the ultimate trick, which is so terrible, because remember, Cardi was adamant about not paying this man.
She was.
She was adamant about
Yes.
that. But here's the thing. What if there was some sort of alliance between Offset, Pre, and Stefon?
Wow.
Because, Cardi thinking she's going to be proposed to. And her needing to be free to get married again.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, here comes Offset's bills being paid.
Yep.
And prior to that, when that girl that all these celebrities have been with, I think her name is Selena or something like that, Selena Powell, she had put out that he had borrowed $15,000 from her allegedly.
So of course he didn't pay his own bill.
He couldn't have possibly paid that allegedly. So how all of a sudden he has the over $2 million, I think it was, to pay for those taxes? Because somebody possibly thought that they needed to have their divorce finalized as quickly as possible so they can move on. But that is not what eventuated.
That is not what happened. And Cardi B is now rethinking this whole thing. And many of her fans are in the comments and they're saying, Cardi, don't do it.
Right.
When they heard that entertainment news article, they're, Cardi, don't you do it. Girl, you got more than 1 million or so. Don't you do it.
And it's not one or the other, because you see all the people talking about, oh, she might as well have just stayed without. It's not one of, you don't need either one of them in your life at this point. So just don't try to lure him back in, even if he comes with, oh, you know, he's sorry or this, he didn't mean it. Look at this man's actions. He has no good intentions for you. Everything that he has promised, he has done the exact opposite of. So please look at that, and don't rely on all these pretty lies that he repeats and he says, because he shows you every single time.
Every single time. The pretty little lies and the sweet nothings. That's it. That's all.
All right, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.